my friends in Dr. Harris.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, everybody, welcome, welcome. This is Dr. Herbert Harris. This is Success Mentorship class number 369. Wow. It's that, this time goes by so fast, and we have spent such quality time with each other. Thank you so much for being with us. Those of you on Instagram, welcome. Kenya, my favorite celebrity coach, welcome. And those of you on YouTube, to our Millionaire Mentorship channel. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Today's message is Success Mentorship class number 369. And our topic for today is What's Next in My Life? What's next in my life? A lot of our topics are, of course, based on our book, The 12 Universal Laws of Success, and on some of the powerful discussions we have in the Success Mentorship class. I invite you to visit our website, herbertharris.com, www.herbertharris.com, to learn more about what we do, get your copy of the 12 Universal Laws of Success, and begin the transformation process for your life. Also, be sure to follow us and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and let your friends know about it. While we're having our talk today, share it with somebody and let them be a part of this experience. Before we get started, let's do our meditation to get ourselves in the proper space, the proper place and time and space. Let's close our outer eyes, open our inner eyes. Sit straight up in our seats. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. In this space of peace and relaxation, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that. I am at peace with myself. Once more. I am at peace with myself. And in this state of peace and relaxation, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And so it is. This topic has been one that I think all of us at different points in our lives have faced. And I have a quote, a beautiful quote. It's the source is unknown, but I think it really clarifies and really highlights where we are when we say, What's next in my life? And it says this: every next level of your life will demand a different you. Every next level of your life will demand a different you. Wow. That's a powerful thought, folks, because that is saying that as we face these different crossroads in our lives, there's a reason that we're facing them. And that reason is that it's to bring out a new you. We know the scripture of David and Goliath, and the purpose of Goliath was to bring out a new David, a David who had been a shepherd boy tending his flocks, now to be a great warrior saving his people. And so this is a nice mindset to look at, because when we are facing the challenges of life, we always get to that point like, what's next? Where do I go from here? When we are facing the challenges of life, one of the most important mindsets is to recognize that this is a necessary part of growth. This is not a lot different from the experience of the caterpillar becoming the butterfly. That must be a profound metamorphosis to go from a crawling creature on the ground driven by hunger to become a beautiful butterfly flying to the sun. And so when we are confronted with this doubt, sometimes this question of where do we go from where, what's the next step in our lives, to know that that's okay. Don't fret it. Don't worry about it. That's a part of growth, a part of the growth necessary to bring out the new you. If you're at a crossroads in life, it's because you need to be someone different than who you are right now. The other good news is this: you have the power to change direction and create a new chapter in your life anytime you choose. That's a powerful piece. That's an awesome power to have. I like to share a story, and I think it may give a good example of this idea of what's next. When I was a child, I grew up years ago, and my mother was a teacher, my dad was a janitor, and we had a fairly large family. I had an Uncle Dranford who was a drunk, with a talented drunk. He sang, but he was an official driver. He was a person who drove people different places. In that era, that era of a segregated country, I'll just say, that people had to travel in a certain kind of way. And my uncle was one who knew the way. And so my dad had been in an accident, and he had gotten a wound in his leg, and the wound got infected, and it got worse and worse, and the doctors didn't seem to be able to do something. And so Miss Annie, a lady who worked with us, and my Uncle Dranford told my mom and dad they need to go and see a root worker. Now, many of you younger people may have no idea what that is, but a root worker is a person who works with herbs and some people say mamby jamby, poo poo, all, but stuff that's beyond the natural. My dad, of course, reluctantly wanted to do it, and they took off to drive from North Carolina down to South Carolina. And my dad, being who he was, he wanted to drive, and he drove down the highway, and then he went back into the woods and then on the dirt road. But he came to a point where he did not know which way to go. And I think a lot of times in our lives, that's how we are. We're driving down the roadway of life, and we get to a point where we're not sure whether it's a left turn or a right turn or no turn at all. And at that point, finally, my mother said to my dad, well, Dranford knows where to go. So my Uncle Dranford takes over. So that's a lesson there. Sometimes when you don't know what's next, you need to step back. We're going to talk more about that. And let somebody take over who knows where they're going. Dranford drives, and he drives down the dirt road, and finally he drives into a field. And if you ever seen one of those fields where the only thing the road is like there's two tire tracks, two tire lanes, and you drive along, and there came a point in which the lanes disappeared and it was just a field. At that point, my dad's talking much stuff. I told you not to go. This is never going to work. You know the kind of dialogue you hear when you're on a path and people are with you and they're not at the same level of consciousness that you are. Anyway, my Uncle Dranford had been there before. I guess he, as a driver, he had brought somebody there before, and he just stopped and he became very observant. If you can imagine a big field of just bushes, and he became keenly aware, and he drove very slowly as he observed. And then he saw a small opening. there. And then he pulled up to that opening. Then there was a little sloping dirt path up to a house sitting by a lake, and a lady was sitting there. She was literally like leathery skin, dark leathery skin, smoking a pipe. And my dad and my mom explained the situation. She didn't say a lot, but she went down to the banks by the lake and got this red clay and brought it back and slapped it on my daddy's wound and smoothed it out, made like a almost a salve type thing, and then wrapped it in brown paper and then tied it with white cotton ties. And then my mother paid her. I have no idea. I'm just soaking it all up. And then, of course, they drive back to Wilmington. She told him to keep it on there for 5 days. And after the end of 5 days, when he took it off, it was healed. So many times in life, we're like that situation. We'll be going along the roadway in life, and we get to a point where we don't know what's next. We don't know where to go. And at that point, sometimes you just have to stop. When Dranford wasn't sure, he stopped. And he became very observant. And he looked around. And he found the way. And so that is really a part of the lesson today. When we are faced with what's next in our life, what should we do? How do we handle it? And number one, don't worry about why you're there. Now, many times we look at what our accomplishments and where we are at this point in our lives, and we go like, wow, why am I here? What did I do wrong? We want to beat ourselves up. But to realize that if you are at a crossroads in life, it's a purpose, and the purpose for the crossroads is to help you, give you the opportunity to make choices about where you go from this point. You know? And those choices now will determine what is next. But the point is that it's natural. Whenever you're at that crossroads where you're not sure what's next, that's a sign that you need to grow through it. If you just go through it, you'll find you end up at the same place over and over and over again. And so the only thing that you can really do to get to what's truly next for you and the destiny in which you were created is to grow through it. The second good thing to know is that the spiritual principle, the second law of success says, be not conformed to this world, but be you transformed by the renewing of your mind, which means that when you're confronted with this situation, with this challenge, with this indecision, with this crossroads, to know that you have the power to change direction anytime you want. You have the power to transform yourself from what you are. You are not defined by your circumstances and your condition, but you are defined by your purpose and your potential. And so what are the steps? How do we get there? How do we make this happen? The 3 steps. I'll enumerate them and then we'll go into them. Pause and reflect. Explore the possibilities. And then choose a direction and take action. So let's delve a little deeper. The pause and reflect. You know, there's a scripture that says, be still and know. And this is this, that when you are at a point in life where you seem stuck, where you're at a crossroads, where it's not clear what the next step is, often we get there because, we know we get there because of our actions in the past and our past choices. But now we're at this point that we're not sure where to go next. What's the next step? Well, then stop, pause, be still and know. Be still and know what? Be still and know who you are, what you're about, and where you're going. Well, how do you learn that? Be still and know. Think about the prodigal son. After the prodigal son had wasted all of his money and he's there in the pig pens of life feeding somebody else's pigs, he says, in my father's house there's food enough and more. And so, what he was saying, he was identifying with his source, saying that he came from a good family who had everything they needed. So, when you're at the crossroads in your life, claim your source, that you were created by a divine creator for, for a proper purpose, for a holy purpose, for an intentional purpose, for a necessary purpose. And though life may have taken you off into a situation where you're not happy with the results that you've gotten, but the fact that you're still alive, you see, we have something called the presence. And the presence is God's gift to you, it's the present to you. Now, what you do with the presence is your gift to God. And this is what next is all about. So, this stage of pausing and reflecting and to be still and know, to know that whatever your condition is, it does not define you. To know that you were created for a good purpose and have good things to do. To know that the fact that you're alive means that your work is undone. Trust me, I guarantee you that one of my good friends just recently made his transition, and I felt so sad about it because just he was young. He still had much work to do, but that was his time. But when that thought is, if you're here, no matter what the condition, you have already received the greatest gift, the gift of life. So be still and reflect and look at what do you truly want. It is at these times that it's important to really identify who you really are. What do you really want? What what do you value right now? Maybe you've been chasing money and it just hasn't happened. Maybe you need to reframe your objectives and let's chase happiness. Let's even go one better. Let's attract happiness. Let's create a sense in ourselves of who we are that's so powerful that it attracts happiness into our lives. That this idea of pausing and reflecting really says get into a state. And I recommend that we do our meditations to separate ourselves from the outside world and to put us on the track to be open and receptive to this message. So when you be still and know, use meditation, use mindfulness now to begin to hear that inner voice. So when the prodigal son said, in my father's house there's food enough and more, the next thing he did was take action on it. He said, I will arise. And so in this first stage of reflecting on who you are and looking at what you really want, what you're willing to let go of, what are your values right now? And then once you've sort of painted that picture of the who you are, we always say you always bring yourself to the party. So before you make that distinction, that choice about what's next in your life, it's important that you understand who you are, whose you are, what you're about, and have a sense of purpose. The second key is once you've done that, explore the possibilities. And when I say explore the possibilities, I mean embrace uncertainty. To understand that uncertainty is a part of life. Many times we want life to be so definite. If I don't know exactly where I'm going, then I can't act. Well, when you don't embrace uncertainty, you can lock yourself in one of those situations where you get stuck, where you can't go forward. So they accept life is uncertain, but it's an evolutionary experience where all you have to do is stay in the game, be open and receptive, and the message and the method will come to you. So explore the possibilities now. Instead of getting all bent out of shape about your current progress and your past failures and disappointments, now start to explore the possibilities of who you are. Look at your strengths. Look at your passions. You see, the moment you say, I am the created product of an all knowing God, created for a divine purpose with and created complete with everything I need to get anything I want, then now begin to see your life from that perspective. Stop looking back at what was and start looking forward at what can be. And start tasking yourself, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? What would you do if money was no object and you knew you could not fail? You know, many times we choose to let our lives be defined by money. Man, if I had the money, I'd write a book. If I had the money, I'd do this. If. Or we let our lives be defined by fear. Fear of failure. I failed so many times in the past, I'm not going to try again. As I stand here at the crossroads, I'm going to do nothing. Fear of criticism. You know, the moment you decide to take a choice and do something different, people closest to you will criticize and tell you how you can't do it and will often remind you of every failure and disappointment you've experienced in the past. So when you begin to explore the possibilities, put all that aside. What would I do if money were no object and I knew I could not fail? Ask yourself, what am I good at? Man, what are my skills? What are my talents? What do I love doing? And start to write these things down. You know, the Habakkuk says, write the vision, make it plain upon tablets. That when you're at this decision making process where you're trying to determine what's next, you need to act like a scientist, like a scholar, like a lawyer. You need to be taking notes on your life. It's just that important. So write down those things that you would do if you could not fail, if money was no object. Write down those things that you're good at, your talents, list them. Write down the things you're passionate about. Man, I really enjoy this. Like I enjoy reading. I enjoy creating. What do you enjoy? You know, once what you enjoy and what you're good at coincides, it creates a vibration of creativity. You ever see how some people seem to create great movies, great songs, great books, great results in their lives and say, well, what's the secret? Most of the times, what they're good at, they love doing. Someone once said, once you love what you're doing, you'll never work again. Create a vision. When we start exploring the possibilities, what kind of life do you want to live a year from now, 5 years from now? Dawn was in one of my early seminars, and we did a 5 year projection. We had a draw your dream, and everybody drew a picture of where they would like to be in 5 years. And Dawn and many of the people who were in that seminar, when they look at their 5 year vision, they have manifested it and more. And so, really use that power of vision. The scripture says, where there is no vision, the people fail, they perish. But if you have a vision, then that aligns you with the vibration of your creation. When we said, be still and know that you are connected to a divine power. And so now, when you have a vision, you're literally letting that power manifest in your consciousness. I love that serenity prayer because in this state of exploring the possibilities and developing the new vision, that serenity prayer, I love it. I'll sort of roughly paraphrase it that to change the things I can change, to accept the things I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference. You see, the beauty of this vision now is that you have the power to make it happen. You have the power to create anything you can see. And so now, once you've explored the possibilities and created that vision of what you want to be a year from today, at the end of this year, in 2 years, in 5 years, you're now in a position to choose a direction and take action. Now, this is the challenge because choice is that great power that we have that we are often afraid to use. We will often choose not to choose, but then choosing not to choose is a choice in itself. If you don't choose to pay your light bill, sooner or later they're going to turn your lights out. Okay. Whether they have a right to or not, that's just one of those realities. That's how the law works. And so this next level of choosing a direction now based on the vision that you have. So you have a frame of reference now. You've developed that vision. You've explored the possibilities for what's next, and now you can choose. You see, once you set your intentions, it helps give your life direction. You don't have to have the whole picture. You don't have to know it all. Very often people get hung up when they start to set intentions because they want certainty. There's no such thing as certainty. But the moment you set an intention, you have created a vibration to put universal law to work for you in manifesting that vibration. Once you begin to make that choice now and act on that choice, then the key is execution. Execution on a daily basis. And this is often where that rubber hits the road. Everything else up to this point is all cerebral. It's in your mind, in your intentions, in your statements, in your heart. But the actions you take is what confirms the choice. You see, clarity comes through action. The moment you set an intention and have the courage to take action based on that intention, more is revealed to you. Look at life as a mountain, and each time you take another step, you don't know what's up there beyond the clouds. You don't know what's on the top of the mountain, but the faith in your ability to get there helps you take another step. And so this idea of what's next now is to just take that other step. Don't overthink it, but just to take it step by step. Someone once said, inch by inch, it's a cinch, yard by yard, it's hard. So this execution phase of choosing that direction and taking action now says break your goal down into steps, baby steps. Set timelines and stay accountable. Celebrate your small wins to help you build momentum. As you move into this next, you must become a master of your thoughts. To control your thoughts, to keep them focused on the vision you have. You must become a master of your emotions so that your instincts and your passions don't pull you away from the passion you have for the life you want to experience. You must become a master of your actions and habits so that you only do those things that enhance your journey towards the vision you have for yourself. You must master relationships so that you have the discerning ability to determine who's there for the trip and who's not there for the trip. Everybody is not in your life for the whole journey. People are for a season because people can only relate to you based on their level of consciousness. And if you're having ego growth and ego thoughts, then chicken thinkers can't connect with what you're doing. When you're talking about flying and they're talking about scratching, so they can only tell you it's impossible to fly, and you can only say, I don't want to scratch. I choose to fly. And now you can really go into what we call the operation mode. This action that now, if you can see it through that vision, now at the crossroads, see the new person that you want to be. If you can say it, the moment you see that vision, you say it over and over. Put the power of command to work for you. The moment you can say it, feel it. The feeling is the power. The first law of success says, a mind shall have whatsoever it thinks in its heart. So feeling it creates the vibration to manifest it. Plan it. Without a plan, when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And once you plan it, act on it with intensity and integrity. And so, to wrap up this morning's lesson, standing at the crossroads of life, wondering what is next, you have great power. Number one, to know that crossroads are for a purpose, and the doubt of and the challenge of what's next is for your growth. Two, that you have the power to change anything you desire. You don't have to stay stuck in whatever that thing is you're in right now, that you can create a new you, a new vision. Three, use the three-step formula now as you confront the future and the next in your life. Pause and reflect to seek that clarity of who you are, what you're about, and where you're going. Explore the possibilities, connecting up with your God given power of imagination so that you can see far beyond your circumstances to your potential. And then choose a direction. Make a choice consistent with your vision and your goals and take action. Choose a direction and take action, knowing that if you can see it and you can say it, you can feel it, you can plan it, and you act on it, nothing is impossible. That you have the power to be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is. Just let that sink in for a moment. Give thanks for this moment that we've spent together. Thank you so much. Those of you on Instagram, thank you so much. Please share this with at least three other people and write your comments of what you feel about the message and how it may help you. Those of you on YouTube, please do the same and subscribe to our YouTube channel and let other people know about it. Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m., we're right here. And be sure to get more information on our website, herbertharris.com, www.herbertharris.com, and learn how you can plug into the Success Mentorship Network. And so always know this, you can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is.